What's up, everybody? I hope everyone is doing well this Saturday morning, getting off to a good start to this weekend. I wanted to give you a quick economic stimulus update about a few things that are going on right now. And it seems like there's some momentum starting to pick up. The engines are starting to move, the wheels are starting to spin in the Senate when it comes to getting a second economic stimulus approved. I'm going to speak to you about that and about something that Senator Marco Rubio has proposed as an addendum to the CARES Act that's going to potentially give more people some stimulus money. And lastly, I want to speak to you about something that we discussed a little bit before, but it's an alarming rate of $1.4 billion that has been paid to over 1.1 million people that are currently deceased. A lot of people are still missing their stimulus payments. They're still living, but 1.1 million deceased recipients have received stimulus money. If you're one of those people, or I should say, if you receive stimulus money and you've cashed it for someone that is deceased, please stay tuned. Please watch this. I'm going to explain to you what to do with this money. In some instances, if there is an error on the part of the IRS and you receive extra money, you do not have to pay it back. But in this scenario, you do, and you do not want any trouble with the IRS. So I'm going to speak to you about that coming up next. Hello everyone, my name is Paul Zachary Shelton Jr. and I'm the Chief Investment Officer of Warwick Shore Advisors. We are a wealth and investment management firm located in Orlando, Florida with clients all across the United States. If this is your first time coming to my channel, I ask that you please hit the subscribe button. Please ring the bell so that you can get an update each time I upload a new video. And also please give me a thumbs up, like, and share this video to help me increase the financial literacy of our globe. Before I get into today's topic, I want to offer you a free financial planning cheat sheet. This cheat sheet will give you a snapshot of your overall financial health as it is right now. It is completely free, no strings attached. Leave a comment below with your email address and I'll send it over to you, or you can send me a direct message directly to the email address listed in the description of this video. So let's go ahead and get right into today's topic. I want to speak to you about the 1.1 million payments that have been sent out, in totaling $1.4 billion worth of economic stimulus. Now, this is a mistake that has been made on the part of the IRS. They've sent out payments to those that have passed away. Now, it's not a perfect system. Sometimes it's noted that, when someone files a tax return, it could still be alive at that time. But in many cases, what we've seen is some of these recipients have been dead for 3 years and more, and they're still getting economic stimulus payments. So I want to advise you, if you received an economic stimulus payment and it was for your spouse that is deceased or a family member that is deceased, I would encourage you to return the money. If you've already cashed it, you can write a personal check with the explanation and send it back to the IRS. There are addresses listed on the IRS's website, and I'll actually provide a link to that in the description of this video as to where you can send the check back to. The reason you want to do this is because you do not want to have an IRS audit, or you don't want to have the IRS come knocking on your door saying that X amount of years ago you stole $1,200 from the US government, because that's exactly what they'll say. They won't say that we accidentally sent the payment to you and you cashed it. They'll say you stole it, it'll go to federal court, it'll be a federal offense, and there will be some consequences behind it. So you do not want to face any of that. So if you received it, please return it. However, there is an exception to this rule. If you received an economic stimulus payment in the amount of $2,400 because you were married and you filed jointly, you are able to keep the amount for yourself. The amount for the deceased spouse must be returned. So you don't have to return a full monty, just only that portion for the deceased person. Unfortunately, the IRS does not have a smooth method, or really no method at all, in which they're going to go about contacting everyone and letting them know that they need to return payments. So I would advise to look out for your mail, because it's very possible that just like they sent a confirmation letter, that they'll be sending a letter in the next several months or so saying that the payment will need to be returned. But more than likely, please treat this one as the honor system. If you know that the payment should be returned, or if there's any question about a payment that you have cashed that you think may need to be returned, please reach out to the IRS. You can reach out to their 800-919-9835. That's their CARES Act Economic Stimulus Economic Impact Hotline. And you can ask them the question, present them with the scenario, ask the question, see if you need to get it returned. And additionally, as we're moving forward now, more of these local field offices around the country are starting to reopen for the IRS. You can additionally reach out to one of your field agents in your local area and ask the question to see if you need to return the money. Now, the rule is if the decedent passed away after the check was sent, or after the payment was sent. If it was a check and it was sent in the mail and the decedent passed away and then you received the check, meaning you received a check after the person died, but the check was already in the mail and sent, you're able to retain your payment in that scenario. However, if someone died before the CARES Act payment was remitted to you or before the CARES Act was even approved, and public records just had not updated yet, tax returns had not updated yet, and the IRS didn't have the information, that payment needs to be returned because that one is considered ineligible from that standpoint. Again, there's no perfect rhyme and reason as to when the IRS is going to contact you, but be sure you will get contacted if you try to hang on to the money, so don't do that. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the amendment that Marco Rubio is pursuing under the CARES Act right now. And it has to do with families that are mixed families that may have a spouse that is a U.S. citizen and a spouse that is a non-U.S. citizen. You know, under the CARES Act, if you fell into this situation, or if you did not have a Social Security number but had an ITIN number, which is the individual taxpayer identification number, then you were disqualified from receiving the economic stimulus under the CARES Act. As it is right now with this proposal or this amendment that Marco Rubio is making, this will significantly change. This will open the doors for people, spouses and dependents that are aged 17 years and younger, to be able to receive an economic stimulus payment under the CARES Act if they fall into this category. So as of right now, if you are an American citizen and your spouse is not an American citizen and you filed a tax return jointly, you would not receive the economic stimulus payment. This is what he's pushing to change right now. So if this change is signed into law and approved, then those scenarios would all be retrofitted and retroactively you would receive a economic impact payment for either the spouse or the dependent child that is 17 years under. This doesn't change anything with the income requirements of the CARES Act, or it doesn't change anything else with the age for the dependent and who is classified as a dependent. It just opens up the door more for non-citizens in American families to be able to receive the economic impact payment. So the name of this bill that he's bringing forth is called the American Citizen Coronavirus Relief Act. And as I mentioned before, it would reverse the CARES Act so that Americans who filed jointly with non-citizen spouses would be eligible for stimulus payments as individuals. Okay, so that's very important too. So you're not going to get the full $2,400 if it was for spouses, two spouses. You're only going to get the one payment for the one individual that is a U.S. citizen. Additionally, children that are age 17 and under have to have at least one parent that is a U.S. citizen to be able to qualify for the dependent check. So if you fall into this category, please stay tuned. I'll continue to provide you updates on this. Hopefully this is something that is approved and pushed forward through the Senate so that everyone, or more people I should say, that are struggling right now can get an economic stimulus payment, as it is highly, highly needed for everyone. And this is what brings me to my final topic for today. Senator Marco Rubio pushing forth something like this in addition to the CARES Act, seemingly opening up the doors to want to give more money to citizens is really good, a good sign to see, especially coming from the Senate. The Senate has been opposed thus far to any more economic stimulus payments to direct individuals or direct payments to citizens. They more so geared their focus on businesses. But with this opening the door for, or at least the process and the ideas for there to be economic stimulus given to citizens, this kind of paves the way and keeps the HEROES Act on the table. As we see right now, we still have a high unemployment rate in this country. Even though the unemployment scenario is starting to get better, it's still really high. And as it is high, like it is now, and as we're seeing a spike in more and more cases of the coronavirus, especially in the West and the South of this country, it's very possible that we're going to see more businesses have to close, more quarantine is taking place. There was an announcement yesterday that the states of Florida and Texas pulled all their liquor licenses. So if you go to a bar in either one of those states, you're not going to get any liquor served. So that's going to discourage people from going to the bars. It's going to discourage a lot of people from going out, and celebrating and doing a lot of things that they were looking forward to do this weekend and next when you come up to the 4th of July. So it's very, very possible that we may see somewhat of a slight relapse in our economic activity in our country right now. So more stimulus is essentially needed to help keep this economic engine moving forward. If this is your first time coming to my channel, I ask that you please hit the subscribe button. Please like this video. Please share this video to help me increase the financial literacy of our globe. Thank you so much and you have a great day.